The community heat is on when it comes to the Davy Lopes pool in the South End. This is an important conversation. Good evening. It is great to have you on My State of Mind. I am Dan Yorke. We start the week, and we're going to be focused on one particular story tonight. I would say to Red Sox Nation, congratulations. I was a little disappointed that we didn't have a Game 7, but you take a win, it's a win, right? So Wednesday night, we start with World Series around here, and that really adds to the quality of life and the excitement. So that's a good thing. We'll get a little sports commentary as we go, but the sport of politics is hot and heavy in the city of Providence right now. Our guests will be focused on that particular conversation tonight. We have the city councilor who held a press conference, a lot of which you're going to see here in a minute, and another child advocate who are making good arguments for the continued operation or the return of the operation of the Davy Lopes pool. Now, for those of you who are, in the region and you think, it's a local little story that Dan's focusing on, this has got huge ramifications if the mayor of Providence doesn't, straighten out his act. So let's go to the rundown here, and the only thing you see on the rundown is this one item: pool politics are worse. Why? Because I want to focus on this tonight and do something that I normally do on the radio. So let me switch back off my rundown camera and bring it back to nice move, Rox. A little unorthodox this evening, but every once in a while we're going to shake up the rules on this show, right? Because that's where my state of mind is. So what happened today is that a community group got together and held a press conference, and all of a sudden we're starting to see a pretty significant contingent of state representatives, senators, community leaders who are fighting back over this pool politics of the Davy Lopes pool, which was closed this summer. Now, I've opined about this on X number of occasions. When I learned that there was a press conference this morning, I went out to the neighborhood to see what was happening. And what I'm going to do for you here is I'm going to roll a couple of minutes of tape 2 times. It's an edit of the press conference that happened today with the counselor whose ward the pool is in, Davy and Sanchez. There's a part of this press conference today, and Mr. Sanchez, by the way, is a guest on the program. There's a part of this press conference today where he talks about the funding that he can generate, private funding and in-kind labor by the Black Contractors Association and the like, to put this pool back into shape and to operate it. And of course, swimempowerment.org is an organization run by former State Representative Ray Rickman that is totally focused on this and getting 30,000 kids in Rhode Island to learn how to swim. Stay with me because I know it gets a little harried here, but Mr. Sanchez, the counselor, held this event. There were a lot of speakers, but there was a Q&A, questions and answers part with the press after the performance part of the press conference. And we wandered into some interesting territory. So you're going to see something that you don't normally see on local television, and that is what we call raw video, courtesy of Maura Kennedy's great work on Eyewitness News. And you hear a couple of questions from me. What we roll into here is a conversation about the funding and then some of the politics behind the scenes. Let's roll the first tape.
Well, from my understanding, they've been spending over $10,000, probably for about 10 years now, just to patch up the pool, patch up the deep end, instead of just fixing the drain.
So, Councilor, what are the politics?
Politics is I didn't vote for the budget. I voted against it. Hands down, that's what it is.
How do you know that?
Because I know that. He said it to me. That was the negotiations, was he wanted for me to vote in favor of the budget, and he would keep my pool open.
Who he?
He, the mayor.
I thought you said you haven't talked to him about it.
Yeah, we have spoken. I spoke to him about it. Said I spoke to him. This is before the budget.
Sure.
I didn't speak to him after the budget because he hasn't wanted to speak to me. But before the budget, I did speak to him.
So you're saying the mayor's retaliated against you because you didn't support his budget?
Yes.
Yeah. That's strong language.
It's been going on for, what, 5 months now?
So, Councilor, specifically, because you didn't offer a vote for the budget, the mayor directly told you that he would close and cement this pool.
One of his staff members.
Who?
Whoa.
Specifically, what did they say?
The offer was vote in favor of the budget and we'll keep your pool open and anything you need will go in nicely. Ever since I voted against the budget, they've closed down the pool. They've rejected the 8% tax for the West Elmwood housing. They're making it impossible for SWAP to build their building over on Prairie in public. And this is all because I voted against the budget.
Are you saying this is political blackmail?
Yeah, it is political blackmail.
All right, now that's a very serious implication, right? Political blackmail. When you start to talk about political blackmail, you start to talk about more than just hardball. So what the counselor is saying is, well, pretty clear. And by the way, some of those questions were coming from me there on the side. What he's saying is that because he would not support the overall budget, that pool behind him is going to be cemented. Now, the conversation goes on and we probe a little further. Let's take a listen.
But again, the pool is what I'm here for right now. This is what I'm fighting for.
Why didn't you vote for the budget again?
Because it was to raise taxes again. And we raised taxes, what, 11 times out of 12 years? I think it's enough.
It's one thing to suggest that they were not going to support the ongoing operations of the pool. It's another to suggest that they told you that if you did not vote for the budget, that they would come in and they would shut down this facility and cement the pool.
That's exactly what they said.
Which staff member said that again?
I'm not giving names on that one.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, you already said it.
You are 11 feet out on a 10-foot board that we don't see on the pool. Who specifically made that allegation, or who specifically made that threat, or is delivering on that promise right now? Who was it?
Will was just a messenger. He wasn't the guy in charge.
Moses Messenger?
Will.
No.
It's just a
Will's
messenger.
last name is?
No, I have no idea.
His name is Will, you said?
Yeah, well,
He works in the mayor's office, you have no
Yeah.
idea what his last name is?
I don't know a lot of people's last name.
His first name is Will and he works for
Yeah,
Will, the guy who works in the mayor's office,
who works for the mayor, yeah.
Will.
He was just a messenger. But again, this is about the children, and we're here to make sure this pool stays open.
Do you have any emails or documents to prove this blackmail allegation?
No, that's why I don't really bring it up.
You brought it up.
We forced it out.
Well, all due respect to Councilman Sanchez, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when we come back, we didn't force out anything. Listen, there's no doubt that there's some ill will going on in the environment of politics in the city of Providence. In fact, there's a headline today in projo.com where Mayor Taveras maintains his decision to close the Davy Lopes pool. And he's doing a little bit of this I am mayor, hear me roar type of stuff. You know, I'm the mayor, I'm making the decision for the totality of the kids. And he talks about, you know, meals and Boys and Girls Club affiliations and all that kind of stuff, all of which are non-water related activities. The bottom line here has always been for me that this is a terrible message to kids in the city. It's terrible urban policy. And right now, in addition to just a conceptual conversation about what's right or wrong with our taxpayer money or a private public partnership that is obviously available with this swimempowerment.org, we now have a backroom type of fight going on here that is uglier than the issue in and of itself. So when we come back, we'll talk to a couple of guests who have been fighting to keep this pool open, one of whom is the counselor. We'll try to make some more sense of this and well, do the best we can as we continue to advocate to keep this doggone pool open. Stay with us. Welcome back to our State of Mind, or mine. Your State of Mind comes up a little bit later. I'd like to get your feedback on what's going on with this this Davy Lopes pool situation. Again, do not fool yourself into thinking this is just a local city issue. While it is centered there, I mean, there's so much more at stake. And by the way, when's the last time we just decided we would just give up on inner city kids? I mean, that's not what we're all about, is it? Davian Sanchez, who you saw on the first segment, is here. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you, thank you.
And there you go. And Leah is here. Leah is a child advocate. She's a volunteer in the court system and has been involved with this story from the get-go and following it. So I want your perspective. I want your perspective on the message this whole thing sends to children. So hang in there for a second. I want to talk to David a little bit more as a follow-up to what we heard here today. Mayor Taveras put out a response today to your suggestion that you've been engaging, or you've been a victim, or the city kids or the neighborhood has been a victim of political blackmail. In fact, he wrote to all the reporters through his Director of Media Relations guy, David Ortiz. And Ortiz says this: "This is a baseless charge." I didn't get a chance to put this up because we just got this at press time, folks. "This is a baseless charge, and it's insulting. The recommendation has been made for several years to close the Davy Lopes pool because of low attendance and high expenses and replace it with a water park to serve more children. The administration's FY14 budget never contained funding to operate the pool this year. The Rec Department announced its plan to close the pool last spring at a public meeting at the City Council's Ways and Means Committee, and Councilman Sanchez was present at the meeting." What's your response to their response to your allegation that there's been some political blackmail?
Well, I was at that meeting, at the Ways and Means Committee, and I brought the director of Davy Lopes, George Lindsay, and when he was going to speak, they didn't allow him to speak because he has the correct numbers of the amount of kids because he's there every day. And when he went to go speak, they cut him off and they told him he couldn't speak. So we left. I go to my office. I speak to my scheduler. I said, "Get me a meeting with someone from the mayor's office, Alan CP, Bev Shalabor, I think his last name is, and Mike Stevens." We get into this meeting. In this meeting, we discuss the situation about the pool. When we left that meeting, we came to an agreement that the pool will stay open, no matter what.
And this was when?
This is way before the budget, probably like
Early in the year?
like a month before the budget.
All right, the budget comes out in the spring
Yeah.
for fiscal 14,
Yeah.
which began July 1st. We're in fiscal 2014 right now as
Yeah.
we speak. All right.
And they claimed that this was spoken of months, six, 7 months before it even came up in the Ways and Means Committee. That was a lie. The only reason I found out was because someone who worked in the Parks Department leaked it to me.
Okay, so rather than getting bogged down in names and meetings for people who are
Yeah.
looking at the bigger picture, you, as the mayor's spokes guy says, this is nonsense. You're coming back saying, no, it's not nonsense. This happened.
Yeah, it did happen, but
And so tell me, they say the pool budget was never available in 2014 because it never got in there. Well, that's a fluid conversation.
Yeah.
Did you have a quid pro quo conversation going on? Did they want your support for the budget in order to be able to continue to fund this pool?
that happened, yes.
All right. Did you say that's blackmail?
It is, but again, I don't have anything to really prove it.
Well, no. When you were in conversations with
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
you blackmailing me?
Yeah.
Did you ask for anything else other than the pool to be open
I don't
that clouded the conversation?
I don't need anything. I have everything I have.
Jobs, other issues peripheral to this?
I don't need anything.
All right.
I don't need anything.
You've spoken to the mayor directly about this, yes or no?
We spoke to him before the budget, and everything was okay.
Did the mayor articulate to you that he needed your support for his big budget in order to supply the funding for this pool?
He wanted, he was trying to get everybody in the council to vote in favor of the budget.
I understand that, and everyone's got their little ditties that they're dealing with and
Yeah.
bargaining chips. But did he tell you, you give me a vote on the budget, you get your pool open?
That was sent by one of his staff members.
So it was either or. You get a vote for the you give a vote
Yeah.
for the budget, you get your pool open.
Yeah.
You don't get a vote for the budget, you don't get your pool open.
Yeah.
And we're going to cement it permanently?
Exactly.
All right.
And build a spray park. I call it spray park because it's just spray stations.
All right, there's a couple of nuts and bolts, and then we'll get to Leah, because I want to talk about the bigger picture here, because that's really what's most important. You have funding through your own council available funds.
Yeah, CDBG money.
You're telling everybody that you can fund this pool through both public monies available to the council and in-kind contributions to Black Contractors Association and anybody else that wants to contribute.
Yeah. We have various support from like everybody in the state. I mean, honestly, it's just the mayor who's against this.
And there's no doubt that the community support has, I mean, that press conference today, now you're starting to get a little heavy with the delegation. Everyone's seeming to show up now, right?
Yes, yes, everyone's
You get a sense,
publicly
because I know
coming
you've been
out.
working hard on this, that is there a resonating understanding amongst the citizens of the South End and the city of Providence? What's at stake here?
Yeah, I just, you know, I'm deeply saddened about this pool being closed because, you know, it is a community resource and, you know, we need it. And, you know, drowning is the second leading cause of death in children 1 to 14. And,
Oh,
you know, we need this pool.
I want to talk about those things in our next segment, but tell me, is there evidence that the citizens of the city and the neighborhood and the ward are ready to rally
Yes.
and get behind this? I
Yes.
mean, listen, it was a
Definitely,
school day today, but the kids are in school.
Yes,
so
the kids were in school, and a lot of the parents were working, and you know that's where I come in. You know, I'm an advocate for the community and the children, and you know, as well as my children. I have 4, and you know, we all use the pool, so you know, I want them to.
Or
learn.
used to. You didn't
Yeah,
this past summer.
yeah, it's 95 degrees outside, and the pool was closed this summer.
All
so.
right, let me pause. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the logistics of this, and then the bigger message, which is an urban policy mistake on the part of this mayor that is just a disaster, and him holding fast. Stay with us.
You know, when
Yeah.
99% of a community asks you not to do something, you ought to not do it, particularly when they're 100% correct.
Yes.
And by the way, the other 1% is just being quiet. They probably don't want. This is destruction of public property if you even think about it. Pouring cement in a pool. It's absurd.
That is Ray Rickman, the former state representative who's running swimempowerment.org. He's been a guest here. He'll be a guest, I'm sure, again this week as this thing starts to crystallize. And the reason why it's crystallizing, this Davy Lopes pool thing, the closure of it and the pending cementing of it, is because, you know, we've got this document right here. There's a bid process that began today, which is why today was important for this press conference that was held earlier. This is the notification for pool demolition services, and 3 bids came in today. Councilor Sanchez was at that process. One was out of the world, like $140,000
Yeah,
or something.
those are like about 100,000, low 100,000, and there was 2 that was like 36,000.
Right, so it's in the neighborhood of $30,000 to $40,000 to cement this pool,
Well-
and you've got enough money to be able to operate the pool.
Yeah.
Which would be less taxpayer expense than the actual demolition, correct?
Exactly. Without even touching city money, we can get outside money, private money, to fund the pool. To
Okay.
fix, not to fix, but to run the pool.
Well, the thing about the politics is, which is interesting, here Ray Rickman has developed this swimempowerment.org with a charge to get 30,000 kids to be swimmers over a decade. All the mayors had to do in this particular case is form a public-private partnership and say, you know what, there's new news. We've got swimempowerment.org, we've got some private funding, we've got Black Contractors Association that is booting some. In other words, he's got an opportunity to say that the game has changed. I'm going to harness a solution.
Yes.
And he hasn't.
That's been the big issue. Is he's
So
not,
what am I missing behind the scenes other
doesn't
than the
wanna work
blackmail?
together.
He doesn't want to work together. Why? Because he wants to blow a gubernatorial campaign? I'm
maybe,
missing this.
Maybe he doesn't like me. I don't know, but he just, or maybe doesn't want to help the kids.
You think it's as base as that? He doesn't like you?
I don't know. It's either that or he doesn't
There's
like the kids.
nothing else that I'm missing. A week from
you gotta
now, I'm
pick
not going
one.
to find out that something you knew that I didn't know that you didn't tell us. It's all out there, right?
Yeah.
The whole thing's out there. All right, on the concept and the message to the children, because this is why I'm involved in this thing, because I just don't understand how we can do this. We've got all this pressure on kids in the inner city. We have all of this demagoguery that goes on, you know,
Yes.
black kids, Hispanic kids, you know, they don't behave, they're gangs, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And so now you've got this facility in the hot summer months that are closed. The message is you're cemented.
Yes.
And spraying these kids in the fanny with a spray park, I'm sorry.
Right.
Right? Talk to me.
It's not going to work out. You know, that's for, you know, to walk around and to get sprayed with the hose, and that's actually what I seen at the Davy Lopes pool this summer, and that's why I checked into it and to see what was actually going on. You know, because the mayor said they was going to give them the Boys and Girls Club, and then he said they was going to give them the Zucolo pool, but actuality they only went to Zucolo 3 times this year, and they only had 10 minutes of swim lessons, so that's not enough to learn how to swim. I am a former lifeguard. Actually, my first job was at the Davy Lopes pool as a lifeguard when I was 16, and I actually
It did a lot for you.
it did a lot
kid?
for me. It shaped my life. It shaped my life as you know, a leader today. You know, I swam in that pool from open to close when I was a child. My mother worked all day. It was a safe haven for me.
They say, one of the mayor's complaints is that the attendance has been down. But they put policies together After a drowning incident that they had a couple of years ago, they jumped on that, and now they're making it so difficult for kids to show up. Got to have mom or dad or a custodian. Well, you know, in that neighborhood, we got a lot of fatherless families, number one. Number two, if you want parents not to be on the dole and working, if they're working, they can't take their kids to the pool. If they can't take the kids to the pool, the kids can't come to the pool, and then the attendance comes down.
Right,
I mean, the
and the crime
policies
goes
are
up.
not well thought out, right?
Right, and the crime goes up.
In 2011, I visited one time when the pool was still open, and I was seeing parents walking in with, you know, they had an infant in their hand and 3 or 4 kids. You know, some of them were part of there, some of them wasn't. But when they walked in, oh, you can't bring the infant in. So now they can't bring the infant in, they have to stay with the infant. Now these kids that were going to go, they're out too. So now you got 5 people that were going to go in,
It seems to me that the whole
and now they
thing
can't go.
is designed to create lesser population, to provide the reason for being able to close the pool.
And I complained to the mayor and the staff about this in 2011, and they've...
All right, 30 seconds, bottom line, each of you, give me 10, 15 seconds. What's the mission here, and what's the commitment?
The mission is to create a safe haven and to learn and to help children learn to swim, because drowning is the #1 or the #2 cause of death in children between 1 and 14. The main mission is to get this pool open and to fight, you know, fight for the children's rights, because, you know, we are their voice, and I'm going to advocate for them.
All right, last thought.
Mayor, open the pool. We need the pool. It belongs to us, and it's going to stay with us.
All right. Your state of mind when we come back. You know, Jess points out to me that we haven't showed you the pool today. We showed you some B-roll of the pool when it was in good shape from a couple of years ago. I don't know if we have that, Roxana. This is what the pool looks like right now, in part because of the negligent work reportedly that the city did. I was out there today, I was embarrassed. All right, your state of mind real quick. Here's a Twitter reaction to some of our commentary last week on this. Teresa writes on Twitter, I think you could drum up support in the burbs to fight this. Children need to know how to swim. Ask for their voice. Yeah, I would hope that the burbs do get involved. You get involved on the voicemail at 228-1886. Tell us what you think about this, and we'll play your voice. Email me at stateofmind@myRITV.com. And, of course, on Facebook and Twitter, it is Dan Yorke Show, Y-O-R-K-E. This is a continuing conversation and fluid, but the message is, Mayor, hello, McFly. This isn't good for you, the kids, or anybody. I'll see you tomorrow night on myRITV at 7:30 on Dan Yorke State of Mind. Good night.